All right. Okay. We are on episode seven. Oh, wait, no, not seven. That includes the missing one. Six. Okay, so we're on six. We just actually did a full kind of blue triangle. It's I used to read Gamma Sutra, which was a magazine. I don't know, it wasn't quite a magazine, but it was like it was a magazine. It was a magazine. Man, this episode is going really well. And they used to do these really great postmortems of games, and one of them I read was someone talking about how hard it was to get all their build tools into a single point where they could say like one thing had gone through the entire pipeline, and they called that like the blue triangle, the black triangle. So I always like to try and get a single proof of concept that's like the full integration of a single system. So we've got that done now. So that's my OR stack view triangle. So what we're going to do now is move it to Heroku. So if you've never used Heroku, congratulations, you're about to see what it looks like. Heroku is like a hosted server system. Like you used to buy an entire computer and put it in a rack somewhere, and then someone was like, why don't we have virtual computers? So you used to be able to buy like a shared chunk of a computer, and then Heroku was like, why even run any of it yourself? And so suddenly you ended up with like this kind of virtual dyno system. So we're going to create a new one, and it's going to be called CocoaPods Metadata Service. Yep, owner is CocoaPods. And the pipeline. Okay, so there we go. Ship it. Next up, we have to for existing, we just add Heroku remote. Right, so we can paste this in. I already have the Heroku CLI. You could just get it in with this. Okay, so that's up to that. Should we just see if it works? Oh, so close. Okay. Heroku is going to try and figure out what our server is, and nice. And it might just look at the node. Yeah, so it's going to infer that. It's going to infer yarn. Yeah, so 8, that's fine. Yarn 1.5.1 is fine. It's going to install that. It's not going to know a build though, I think. So let's look at that while it's doing this. If I'm pretty sure that so if we go package.json, yep, okay. If we look at Peril, which does this, we need to run build. So we're doing ahead of time compilation. If I open the package.json, we'll see in the script section there's probably this post install. That does look like it to me. So I'm just going to throw this in there, and it's just going to be yarn build. Cool. So that will run build after install. Interesting enough, it did actually succeed, but it didn't build it, so it's not gonna load anything, right? Yeah, it's not. Okay, cool. Let's fix that. Run build after install. Sure. And then push that to Heroku, and then we'll watch it one more time. So while it's doing that, we can take a look at what's happening in here. Nothing. If we look in the activity, we should at least see the build. It's interesting that it succeeded. While we're here, we'll connect it to GitHub. It's not on order, it's on CocoaPods. That's CocoaPods metrics service. Sounds right. Metrics. Is that actually called metadata? That's the one. Cool. That took an obscenely long time. 30 seconds to build. That's not, that's, something's wrong there. Okay, so now we get that, but we don't have automatic deploy, which is great. Okay, so we can also run --no verify to skip all those if we want. Okay, so we should see it installing yarn, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, building depths. So it should do yarn install, and that's our yarn build. Perfect. So this means that the distribution is fully set up on the server. So our next problems are going to be about setting up the environment variables. So I'm gonna have to do this without you guys watching. So yep, cool. So if I try to run this, let's have a look. Heroku logs dash tail. So this is the logs of the server as it's running, and it'll stay permanently doing that. So if you look, it's previously crashed, but it's actually correct. So the first thing that it does do is it verifies that you have these environment variables set up. And as we don't have those environment variables set up, then nothing. Okay. Right, so I'm going to bring that back, and I'm going to... Okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to quickly cancel this, and then I'm going to add it straight after this. So see you in a sec. Okay, we are back. I just went through this reveal config variables section and just filled in all the config variables. It's kind of good that I keep those a secret from you guys, you know? We're gonna show you, well, I'm not gonna show you, I'm gonna verify whether this stuff all works. So if we look now, every time you set a variable in Heroku, it restarts your server. So it reset the server and it stopped crashing, it ran and stayed up. So then I verified by running the webhook, and I changed it to be CocoaPods metadata service, which is the name of our Heroku app, .herokuapp.com, and then sent it. So if I hit OK, that should send up this. That sends OK back. That's sort of the response we got from the server. I'm not tailing the log anymore, so I can't see it. But I can go into Trunk Productions database now, and we should see the OR stack view row has changed its ID one. We found that one earlier. Oh, there we go. So the rendered README URL actually now represents the real AWS account under the hood. So that means my webhook has successfully edited the Trunk Production database, which is great because that's what we were trying to do. Other interesting notes, it didn't like delete anything else or change anything. It just edited just the rendered README URL, which is important. So does the web page work is a great question that I have next, which is CocoaPods.org org/pod/or stack view. So close. Oh, doesn't even need it. Okay, so this is a GitHub rendered README instead of my local custom version that exists on the hosted Mac Mini, which means we're pretty close to where we want to be. I can think of at least one more step that we have to do before we can do any work, which is we actually have to make it work with the trunk webhook secret. So the trunk secret here is the secret URL that gets passed to your root. So I'll show you on trunk because I have to go make changes to trunk anyway now that I ship this. So that's Strata trunk. Yep. So this contains. Oof, that's slow. I guess it is recording my screen and audio and video and my screen audio. Right. I need to find where this webhook comes from. So there's a require webhook, so there's a file called webhook. Okay, there's all those. Looking for a list of URLs, basically. Should I check the README? usage, webhook, domains, trunk outgoing, garbled path is used. So that's the thing that we're going to add. Doesn't. Yeah. No. Init.rb in the config. Cool. Okay, so we've got the original CocoaDoc search, the search, an AWS version of our search, metrics. I'm not sure what that does. The buddy builds CocoaDocs. And now we're going to need, ideally, we should make a CocoaPods.org. But for now, we'll skip this. So this is what the URL is going to actually look like. Let's kill that. So I'm going to need to make this part exist. So in here, I have to ship this code too. It's not in the webhook, but it's in index.ts. So app.get port, it's in create app, yeah. So this is now not /webhook, but /webhook/ the process art, the global. So it's going to be like, I know autocomplete doesn't work unless it's like trunk underscore webhook secret, yeah. How did it not import it? Oh, okay, cool, thanks. It'll look like that, yeah. Okay, that's going to break one of our tests, which is great, because that's why we wrote the test. So that's going to be server.test.ts. And it's expecting /webhook, but it got called with trunk secret, which I think is totally fine. Cool. All right. Yep. Okay, cool. Which means we're good. So if we added trunk secret, yep. Handle the trunk secret webhook URL opt param. Yeah. Okay, good. Push that. Push it to Heroku also. I feel like I typoed, but okay. So next up, we're gonna need to actually need to make changes in. Oh, look at that. Why would prettier be slow? We need to edit trunk. Whoa, strata then. Cool. Trunk. Stash these changes. We'll keep it back in a second. Okay, so someone updated the gem file. Barely, nothing. Pop that out. Take a look at it again. Okay, we'll want to move it onto CocoaPods.org eventually, but handle. So this is metadata service. I'm gonna make a PR for this. I'm fine to push to CocoaPods metadata service on my own, especially as I'm documenting with this, but I'm not fine to do it for trunk. Well, I'm happy to do it to trunk, but for a PR, that's different than pushing to master. As the metadata service to the webhooks. Cool. Okay, we need to make a PR for that. CocoaPods /trunk pulse tests are passing. Okay. Is that? No, it's not a problem because the previous one had one too. Now, I should not ship this yet. I'm going to assign it to myself, but I need to verify that it doesn't break the CocoaPods website, which is kind of important. So this verifies that the room will be updated via a Heroku app instead of the Mac Mini for CocoaDocs. What's the repo called? Something metricsy service. Bump. Cool. Okay. So next step is to validate this. Even we can't break the CocoaPods website. So we need to go back and go into the CocoaPods.org website. Looks like I'm pretty close to master it. Yep, great. Grab that up and bundle exec rake. So this is how I try and run all of our web pages, all that complicated web stuff. 2.1.3. Really? 2.1.3, sure. Install shell? Cool. Might have to bundle. Okay. So this service breaks an assumption that used to exist on the website that it'll have some reasonable amounts of data, and now it could just literally have the README. Just the README, yeah. So we killed CocoaDocs, and I think in our local database we have, this is trunk production, so in local for dev CocoaDocs, yeah. Okay, so this is all we have, a bunch of nulls and falses. It's interesting that false is there, but not no, which I would have hoped. So we will figure out if that breaks everything in a bit. So we need this page. I think it's 5,000? 3,000, close. Okay, so let's start with this. So there's an assumption that total text expectations exists. Pretty reasonable. So in a pod, probably pod.slim. Okay. So all of these, some of these will have to be some of these we can just wait until there's enough metadata. I think is Swift maybe something we could probably, how long do I want to ship this before it's actually in production is a great question. So that I don't care about. We could actually validate if it exists, and even because we. So some of them we're going to assume false when it's false. It's null. It's now optional in Ruby, so we can't be is there nothing there? It's just got to be something. So. Okay. All right. So this is This is a pretty reasonable guess. With CocoaPods metrics, metadata service. So nearly all of this. Well, let's try and find out what's depends on CocoaDocs, right? So this requires owners. My apologies. It's a tad worrying because we don't have that. That's a pod one. That's a Swift one. Everything else relies on CocoaDocs. Like I don't know how to. I can't. I think they'll get scoped wrong. Can I return here? It's inside Slim, so it's like returning inside a function. Nah. I mean, we are returning, it just happens to be the wrong metadata. Okay, so that's fine. There's like probably some crazy meta programming I could do for this, but let's just make it really ugly for now and have a think about some of the deeper ramifications once we can actually see what's going on. Okay. Well, I'm interested to see what happens. So that's interesting. That's all stats. That's metrics. This is CocoaDocs. Is it possible that's enough? Uh, 24. That reads okay. Quality estimate. It's probably the inference of based on like method inference based on white spacing. Okay, this is fine-ish, right? Like a bunch of useful information. I can kill this, so no one can get to the QIs for it. What's that called? QI. So that's like halfway down. There's like a leaf, maybe. Testing? No. Is GitHub this? Yeah. If has full metadata, then you can show all these. That should get rid of that. Yep. Okay. So it's definitely like it's not got the QI, it's not got the metadata, but we can pull some of that out. Yeah, this is like night and day compared to what it was a second ago, right? And you didn't see anything. Okay, so this is pretty reasonable. I can't think of a good way to extract this out. Maybe the answer is to turn this into a variable, into like a. I mean, I know how to in JavaScript, but like turn that into a single object. I don't know if I can do that here. I mean, we lose the Swift version-ish, but I mean, saves me time. So, okay, let's look at, oh, what a nice little twiddle whacker. Everything on the site should work from that. So let's get this at least shipped. Let's look at this. It's not unreasonable, to be honest. I don't know what's there. Screenshots? This all works? Yeah. And it's not popular enough. Okay, so this is pretty fine. I'm okay to ship this. I think. Hey, doggo. Do people want to see you on camera briefly? Come on. Oh, nope, you're running off. All right, bye. Okay, so let's try. That's a good reason to start trying to wrap up then. So has full metadata is in there. This is like super inelegant. It's my British version of writing the comment. So we need to figure out. Let's just live with that for now. I mean, we're not. I'm the only one that works on this, and so the only person who has to live with that against is this guy. So I'm okay with that. Okay, cool. CocoaPods.org is also big enough that I shouldn't be doing things about PRs when it's a reasonable change. So support partial Cocoa docs. Cool, nice and descriptive. Take a PR. So this needs to go to CocoaPods.org. And then from there, that can then reference this PR. Pretty useful. I thought someone fixed that. Okay, cool. So we can even add a screenshot to show it. It makes sense. De-whitelisted. Wait, maybe that would be whitelisted. Although like you do have to deal with like taking data that you've already done and try and add it. So is there anything that I care about strongly enough? I think license I care strongly enough that I think is a blocker. Language we could probably put in pretty quickly. Don't care about any of this stuff. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, that's that. Okay. I'm gonna assign it myself. Yep. So this handles that. I want it. Data. This makes everything work. Cool. Well, work was the word I was going for. Okay, so that's that. So we now have a PR to trunk that will send the webhooks over. We now have a PR to CocoaPods.org that can handle subsets of data. And we have a service that can take a pod spec from trunk, generate pull the README in, and then do its work and send it up to S3, and also pass it forwards to trunk. So that's good. I'm gonna call it for a bit, and maybe next time we'll add changelogs and we'll add license metadata and the other one. That's just like a bunch of GitHub API calls, so this should be trivial. Okay, all right, ciao everyone, have a good one, and I'll see you on the next.